Want to say Kalalali Awabashime wa Shai Bashime Kakodash to Banas to the apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the brothers in the IOM Bible preaching this word in sincerity and in truth with much honesty. I'm the brother Shapar from the James Jamaica camp. How to feed the elect, the sheep, the lambs of the Lord our Shai, who is of the children of Israel. You know what I mean? Which consists of the so-called Negroes, Native American Indians, and the Latinos, the true biblical Israelites. Yeah. I was scrolling through social media this morning, and Ice Cube basically was making a couple of posts, you know, concerning Israel, you know, and a lot of people have a lot of things to say on the post. Well, me personally, I don't give. I'm not here neither there with celebrities posting things to do with the truth. You know what I mean? Because hey, a lot of them sold out anyway, so I don't really follow up the celebrity thing. But the comment board was interesting. You know, a lot of Eden, a lot of Edomites were there in the comment board. You know, hungry as hell, saying that the Lord could never be a black man because he was Middle Eastern. But what the hell is a Middle Eastern, man? What is Middle Eastern? You know what I mean? So that is the topic we basically make a attack this morning. The Middle Eastern excuse, you know, for the Lord not being a so-called Negro. You know, so we're going to see who is a Middle Eastern and what the hell is a Middle Eastern. You know what I mean? Because I understand them, I said, based off of the current demography, concerning the Middle East now, the way the people look now, which basically looking like a Arab, you know what I mean, or a Japhite, right? Right now, you know, whether it want to be Persian or Ishmaelite, you know, that's what they're basically saying now. The Lord would look more like one of those nation there, you know what I mean? But you cannot use the current demography to to mark how the people living in the land thousands of years ago look. So that don't fly. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. We're gonna show you how the landscape was before it become what it become now. You know, so the Middle Eastern thing can't fly. But hey, this is our job as the prophets to come to tear down all the lies. You know what I mean? Being set out there because we're fighting a spiritual warfare, man. And it's an information warfare is being fought, man. You know what I mean? And the battle is hot. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to tear down all these lies that the so-called white man already set up. So I give the first precept that will go down into the meat of the matter. So this is 2 Corinthians 10 and 4. It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. You know, we're not going out with guns, man, trying to shoot down another nation, man. You know, we're going to shoot them down with the truth. That's what we're going to shoot them down with, man. And hey, your people on Twitter, they're hungry as hell, man. If you can read the comments, man. You know what I mean? They don't know what next to say, man. Esau is hungry, man. He's losing the battle. He's losing the battle. You know? Yep. So let me continue. It say, for our weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. And one of them strongholds was that all that was important in the scriptures must be a so-called European white, so-called white man. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And that lie is being pulled down right now. You know, European history. It's been the so-called white man history of being the original so-called European is a lie. Being an Israelite is a lie. All those things are a bunch of lies, man. Being the Egyptians, all those things are a bunch of lies, man. You know? And majority of the time, them own mud fall upon them. You know? You know, bringing out and lifting up them skirts, man. You know? So this, we continue here. See? It says, casting down imaginations of every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought and to obedience of Yahweh Shai. And that's what's going on now, man. Seeing the Lord start to wage a war, you know what I mean, with the truth versus lie on the planet and Esau is losing miserably, man. He's losing miserably, man. We're casting down all his imagination because all them things you see him put up there, the image of the Lord, the Awashai, being a white, so-called white man, you know what I mean, the angels and all that, it was all lies, man. And it's been shown now the earth basically is helping the woman, the archaeology, the evidence that was left behind, you know what I mean, the evidence that him tampered, the evidence that him tamper with with historical documents and him tamper with imagery. All that is now coming to light, man. See? And he's about to lose it. This shit is fun. You know what I mean? But anyway, deal with this Middle Eastern bullshit that these so-called white man love to draw as a trump card. You know, I can. And before me even go that, I play that video. You know, dealing with a brief summary of the demography back then, you know, at the Middle East, you know what I mean? So play this cracker here. This is a college, Woods College or something like that. He was giving a lecture. I'm play it here.
So let's review what Genesis 10 suggests, especially if we take Genesis as being an accurate description of history and how humanity unfolded. We're all descendants of Noah, right? Since they were the only ones to survive the flood. And since Genesis 10 tells us how they sort of migrated to populate the world, we can all trace ourselves back to one of those. This is a sort of spatial depiction of what Genesis 10 tells us, right? That the descendants of Shem went sort of to the southeast, the descendants of Japheth to the north, and the descendants of Ham to the southwest, basically in northeastern Africa. So this was the sort of known world that the Hebrews were familiar with, and so this was their description of how it was repeopled after the flood.
Yeah, and that is basic, man. That is the basic. That's a quick summary of how the people on the earth are located, man. So so-called Africans, you know what I mean, are the people dwelling in the land we call Africa today, were Hamites, man. You know what I mean? And so-called Europeans were Japhites, which the so-called white man right now is not a Japhite. You know? So, we continue the video.
This description of the world after the flood is taken up in the Middle Ages as a pretty accurate description of what the world looks like, how it's shaped, and how it's peopled. This is a map, believe it or not, from the 6th century. A little symmetrical map that was put together by Isidore of Seville, which describes, it's a little odd because east is up top and west is at the bottom, so it's tilted. But you have Asia and Shem in one corner, Europe and Japheth in the other, Africa and Ham in the other. So basically there are three types of people. There are three areas of the earth, and these are how they are linked to each other. So even in the 15th century, there's a map that comes from that period. As Europeans got a better sense of what the world actually looked like geographically, they still associated these regions with the sons of Noah, sorry. So up on the top left corner is Japheth, associated with generally where we see Europe. Shem over on the right top, and then Ham around the bottom. So you still have this association, these folks.
Yeah, and so basically that's how the earth was categorized, tongue twister, you know, categorized, you know, that's how the earth was categorized. Now, as you can see, from way back then, was labeled as Africa, you know what I mean, which basically is accurate, man. It's accurate, and this shed a lot of light on a lot of lies that the so-called white man been telling all the years, you know what I mean, that the so-called Egyptians is everything apart from being a dark-skinned man, and that the other nations, them like the Philistines, you know what I mean, the Canaanites and all that, it look different from being dark-skinned so-called Africans, you know what I mean. So that push that lie out the window, man. Now, let me get Ham here. You know, this is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. This is Ham. It said Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, the Canaanites. You know, as we can go to Genesis now in order to break it down some more. Now, Negroes, which is the so-called blacks who get bring into the transatlantic slave trade, is separately from Hamites, man. You know, we know Africans today as Hamites. You know what I mean? That is basically putting things into proper order. But you have a point in time where Hamites used to live in the Middle East, man. You know what I mean? A matter of fact, you have Hamites live all the way to Mesopotamia. Oh, we know this. Like we go to Genesis. Let me get to Genesis 10. You see? Look, Mr. White Man, you can't stop the truth from coming out, man. you're gonna lose miserable, man. You know? You found happily to fight against the truth. You're in trouble, man. Let me see if we can start from here. Okay. And you can go through the sons of the Bible dictionary already pointed it out, you know. Ham, Cush, Mizraim, which is the Egyptian, the Canaanites, the people who were living in Israel before we go over into the land. So the Canaanites are so-called dark skin or so-called black men, are Africans today. They were also Canaanites. The Philistine, where people who are Palestine right now calling themselves Palestinian, the real Philistine or the real Palestinian are so-called Hamites, which are so-called Africans, man. You know what I mean? Otherwise known as black people. You know what I mean? So even in Philistine and Canaan, all them never look like the people in the current demography, man. The people from the current demography are Ishmaelites, the sons of Ishmael, or Japhites, which basically descend. You have certain Japhites, which basically, which are, you call them, in Persian, man. You know, yeah. Which are the Iranians and them other people over there in India and all them other places. They are Japhites. You know what I mean? And you have Japhites used to live all the way up into Europe. They're casted out of Europe. You know what I mean? The so-called white man displaced them like how other nations get displaced now and everybody living in different places on the planet now. That's what happened, man. A whole lot of displacement up on the planet. So you can't use today current demography and say, oh, look, the people them will live us now have the color here, so therefore the people the day here are amongst the color here than they have. No. It's like I'm saying that because Jamaicans look with a dark skin, therefore the Jamaicans are the current Jamaicans today are the original descendants of this piece of rock here. Well, we know that the Arawaks was here before. You know what I mean? But guess what? Who living here now? So-called Jamaicans will look black like a Negro or whatsoever living here now. Seeing so, yeah, people get displaced through slavery, wars, you know, migration because of famine and all them other things. People move and go other places go live. So you cannot use the current demography. You know what I mean? So, hey, the so-called white man is stupid, man. But anyway, let me bring out the precept here. This is Genesis 10 and 8. It's a Cush begot Nimrod. This is important, showing that even all the way to Iraq, you know, all the way to Mesopotamia and all in places of Babylon, which Iraq is the original Babylon. They are actually Cushites, man. We used to live there, you know, before the people who live there now. Before them, they were actually Cushites living there. But anyway, it said, and Cush begot Nimrod, and Nimrod became a mighty Salakia. Salakia. He said, and Cush, this is 8, verse 8. He said, and Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel. You know, which basically was there over there in Iraq. You know. When we reach. And Iraq, and Akkad, and Kalna, and in the land of Shinar. You know, we done the location there over in the Middle East, Iraq, the side of Iraq. But anyway, seeing, so it shows you that Hamites or Cushites used to live deep in the Middle East, man, before them even move to the northern region downward into Africa, because North Africa was where civilization was. Now everybody move further down inland, man, further down because of migration patterns. So that's why you have Africans living all the way to South Africa now. You know what I mean? So that was the demographic then. You know what I mean? So you can't compare then and now. So when they say the Lord was Middle Eastern, you know what I mean? What the hell does that mean? Who is a Middle Eastern? You know what I mean? So that's what I basically want to bring out. You know, we don't say Kalalali Washim Washai Kodash double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the brothers in the IOM Bible keep pushing this truth. Shalom.